All right, what's going on, party people? Merry Christmas. Today is December, the 27th? 27th, 2 days after Christmas. Trust that you had a holly jolly Christmas. It's the best time of the year. I don't know if there'll be snow, but have a cup. Anyway, glad you're here. Hope you're planning on rolling towards the new year. If you're in the Raleigh-Durham area, and you are trying to figure out what you're going to do on New Year's, I'm trying to tell you, our New Year's Eve service, probably one of the greatest services that we have. Next to Easter, New Year's is big. And we're having two services, 7 p.m., 10 p.m. There'll be children's coverage in the 7 p.m. service, not the 10. There's going to be an after party in the 10, after the 10 o'clock service with whiskey. No. It's going to be safe, but it's going to be an after party. And that's all Monday night, the 31st, New Year's Eve. Rolling into New Year's Day, it's powerful. Married couples renew their vows. We kind of really talk about what's the new theme for the year and speak a message based on that. It's just a powerful time. And so you want to do something different, something good, something new. You want to actually start the year off right, being spiritual. New Year's Eve here at World Overcomers. Come early so you can get a seat, and it's gonna be awesome. But anyway, that's my commercial. I'll probably say something about it again at the end of the show. Super excited about the opportunity to share wisdom with you, and let's jump into it. Let's go.
All right, Pastor Andy. The people want to know, what did you do for the holidays?
What did I do for the holidays? You know, honestly, for me, I think there is a very serious line between what you do for your job, what you do publicly. For me, you know, and for any of you that are watching this who are like me, who what you do is what you are. There's an aspect of being a pastor for all the guys that are watching me, all the leaders. There's an aspect of being a pastor that just never ends. And that's why vacations are great. To go on vacation is an awesome thing. Just to get away. It still kind of doesn't really end, because even when you're on vacation, you're still wondering how was church and what happened when I was gone and how did service go and were there people there. And I think the cool thing about the guys in the fellowship, for all the gentlemen guys that you're watching, anyone that's still down OCF, looking to be a part of something bigger, there's something cool about being able to be away. It's not your church. Be in a service. Pastors need to be pastored. And getting an opportunity to actually be in a service in which you just minister to. You get to worship God. You get to hear a word. And in a way, you get a chance to kind of shut down the drive of always pushing, building, church. Because finding that fine line between your private life and your public life, your work life, your job life, that's the challenge. It's a challenge for everyone. Can I not bring work home? Can I come home and be me? And I think a significant aspect of why Americans in particular, humans as well, can struggle with health is that they just don't get enough rest. For me, there is this huge, really cool, awesome relationship I have with all of you, people that are watching, all of the folks who follow me. For someone like me, an Xer, it's challenging. I'm sure there are many of you like with this question. It's like you want a little bit more of a glimpse into my private life. That's something you millennials just do really easy. You guys just tell everybody all your business. You know, just left the doctor, you know, prostate good, which is just kind of, it's hard for me to admit. You know, I got my prostate checked. Anyway, that's hard for me to admit, but just where I am privately, it's like whenever I'm with my daughter, she's just, you know, we're at the Spider-Man movie, you know, and it would have been really good, if I had just posted, because the Spider-Man movie was Jesus Christ on the cross. I've seen it twice. Into the Spider-Verse. So if you haven't seen it, amazing movie. Aquaman, But anyway, to answer the question, for me, time with my family, time with my kids, is the most valuable thing. And obviously, I receive love differently. I don't necessarily receive love with gifts. That doesn't do it for me. The way to show me that you love me is just to do what I say. He that keepeth my commandment, he it is that loveth me. Don't tell me you love me and you don't do what I tell you to do. If you love me, then you'll just do what I tell you to do, especially since it's in your best interest. I don't really receive love gifts. I receive love by giving stuff. So I bought my wife some stuff, with my daughter something. With my boys, it's just easier just to take them out. So I just took them somewhere and just let them pick out stuff they wanted. But that's kind of what I did for the holidays, really. I don't drink, not against anybody that does drink, but I don't drink. And we can talk about drinking, but we don't have to. But I don't drink. I don't smoke weed. So not anything against anybody. If you're rolling a blunt right now and you're like, no. But I don't smoke weed. So what do I do? We all have something. And I'm not trying to make weed okay, but we all have something. I will say this for Christmas, my sons have been talking about cookout for the last 3 years, talking about cookout, And for those of you that watching that aren't in the Raleigh-Durham, North Carolina area, don't have a cookout wherever you may be. Cookout is like this kind of burgers and fries spot that has these milkshakes. Quite honestly, I've been ragging on cookout for the last 2 or 3 years, but Christmas Eve, nothing else was open except cookout, and I was like, okay, fine, get me a cookout, y'all fine. Give me cookout. Get the best cookout burger you get. This is cookout shot to win me over. Give me some fries. Give me a shake. What kind of shake you want? I'm like, I don't know, give me a chocolate shake. The burger was okay. The fries, they were all right. But that milkshake, whew, it was so good that it's a problem now. Let's just put it this way. I've had 2 more since then. I'm just trying different flavors now. I mean, I had peach cobbler last night. Oh, I just went to sleep last night with peach cobbler milkshake just rumbling in my tumbly. So at this point, what are my vices? Sugar and movies. Go to the movies. You get to be quiet for 2 hours. My brain shuts up. I have the kind of brain that never shuts up. One of the movies I was in, there were some kids in it. That was a bad, listen, let me explain something to you. There's an age in which kids can go to the movies. It's a very small little window. Younger than 8 months, you're pretty good. After 8 months, I wouldn't take a kid to the movie until they were about 6. Anything younger than 6, 5 if they're really smart, 4 if there's some kind of like little man Tate. But bringing a 3-year-old to a movie is just evil. You're just wrong. You're just wrong. You need to get a life. You need to wake up. You're just ruining people's movie experience is what you're doing. You're being selfish, and you need to stop it. Anyway. Sorry. Okay. Next question.
Marvel or DC Comics?
I'm going to tell you the God's honest truth. Hate to be this way. And I grew up as a kid reading the comic books. I was into the DC Comics. I was. But when it comes to the movies at this point, DC does not know what they are doing. Marvel has it figured out. DC needs DC movie makers, you need to go over to the Marvel people. steal one of their directors. I don't know what it is. I don't know if you're just stuck. I don't know if it's a pride thing, but it makes no sense for the DC movies to be as bad as really, Aquaman, I was just waiting for the Little Mermaid to it was crab people. The colors, the lines, the Nicole Kidman, really? Oh my God. DC just doesn't get it. So right now, when it comes to the movies, Marvel over DC in no uncertain terms. DC just doesn't know. And you know what? I was interested because it's Aquaman. I've seen him in some of the other stuff, and he's not the blonde, the Super Friends, later that day at the Hall of Justice. So, he looked better than that Aquaman, And I don't know if you guys remember the Wonder Twins, for all of the extras that are boomers and extras that are watching. Wonder Twin powers activate, ching, form of water. You ever notice how the boy was always water? The girl was like, an ice bear. Boom, turns into some ice bear. Form of water. Dude, is that all you could do is just become water? Y'all don't know they throw the water on people? What, he turns into ice, people slip? Anyway, I thought the original, the Superman, I thought the Superman was pretty good, but it was like this last Superman, this whole thing where he needs a mustache for this other movie. Now they got to put something over his lip. Really? It's just, why? What is wrong with DC? What is wrong with you people who are making these DC movies? You are messing it up. So, yeah, Marvel over DC. And, I've gone to all the DC movies because I'm just like, yeah, cool. I'm into it. I dig it. Superpowers. Sounds great. But even Justice League, okay? You can't get your butt kicked the whole time until Superman's back. There's no point to them if they can't do anything without Superman. Now, the Avengers, with the Avengers, you go from wondering, who's the best? I start thinking, if you see the original movie, you're like, yo, without the Hulk, they're doomed. Without the Hulk, it's over. They're getting there. They need him. Hulk smash. Hulk, boom. After this last movie, I'm kind of like, ooh, that Thor is something else. But then the Scarlet Witch, it's like everybody's got enough power, whereas without Superman, they're done. I don't know. Not to just be a total nerd, but what did they think was going to happen when they woke Superman up? You know what I'm saying? He don't know nobody. Wonder Woman's all like, Kal-El. It's like, now there's this dude, the black dude who's cyborg. That dude is all Borg. There's no side to it. He is total robot. You see, it's no man parts to him at all. And I know you all are wondering what I was wondering, which is, did they save anything? Any part of him? I just, it's just too much. I felt like Cyborg was too much. It was just. Did you see Aquaman? What's the whole point of the Black Man in Sky? What was his point? What was? Don't. Okay. I was going to say something about Black Panther, but I don't want everybody to just turn this thing off. I'll leave it alone. See, people already looking over like, I'm not going to talk about Black Panther, but I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. So anyway, let's leave it at that.
How do you help your children navigate relationships and friendships?
I think that when you're a parent, you start off in this position of authority. There's two types of power, authority and influence. They're both powerful. Who's more powerful? The person that has the decision to vote or the person that influences the person that votes? They both have power. When you're a parent of young children, younger than 14, 15, 16, it really is authority that you have. Brush your teeth or else. There's still an aspect of that as long as they're living in your house. But for all of you that are watching that don't have any kind of relationship with your parents as an adult, chances are it's because they were just determined to maintain authority over you and couldn't make the transition into influential power. I think the sooner you are ready to transition into influence, the better off you're going to be when it comes to, okay, can I help my child when it comes to real life issues? I have a lot of conversations with my sons, my daughters too, but definitely my sons when it comes to all of their relationships. I feel like the opposite sex parent has a job to teach that child about that sex, meaning that I have taken very seriously my responsibility to teach my daughters about how men think. I think that it's important for if you're watching this and you're a single mother and you have a son, it's absolutely possible for you to raise a great guy who will treat women well. You have to be careful that he doesn't become someone who is so pleasing women that it ends up being bad, because the job of being in a relationship with a woman is not just about pleasing a woman. It's not just about making a woman happy. That's not really the job. I say this to guys all the time. The job is not to make a woman happy. The job is to find a woman who is happy in herself and complete and not make her unhappy. Just don't mess her up. And I think if you're a dude who's too much just about, what do you want to do? Well, I just want to make you happy. What do you want? Where you want to go? I don't care. What do you want? What do you need me to do? Eventually, that's gonna drive a chick crazy. She wants you to lead. She wants you to be strong. She wants you to have confidence. And you have to be careful as a single mother that you don't just raise a guy who thinks it's all about pleasing a woman, because that's not really all it's about. I think the opposite sex parent does have a role to play in teaching that child about that sex. So I have to teach my daughter how men are. For many of you that are watching this, and one of the reasons why I really have started doing this show, and I've always kind of done relationship stuff, but really doing it now at the age of 50, is because, and I know I don't look 50, thank you, but I'm doing it at the age of 50 because it's kind of a fatherly thing. Many of you lack fathers, and if you're watching this and you're a woman and you don't agree with what I'm saying, it's okay. You've been wrong before. I'm telling you how men think, and I'm trying to give you the fatherly perspective on it, and it's not going to be how you think it always is. Men aren't like you, and you're not going to be able to learn but so much of it from a woman. So I do talk to them. I do share with them. I do a lot of listening. I'm not overly judgmental. Right now, my boys are dating, and they want to talk to me about it, and I want them to talk to me about it. I think it's naive to not let your kids date. That's dumb. My rule with my kids was 15. You can talk to people on the phone, blah, 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 but I don't really going out, taking you out 15, 16. You're naive if you think. And for a lot of us that had parents that were like, you can't date anyone, we just did it behind their back. I would rather be involved. I'd rather be able to say, how did that go? You took her out? Tell me what happened. What'd you say? What'd you do? What'd she say? What'd she do? Then I can influence and advise instead of just trying to manage them from an authority perspective. I can give advice and counsel. Oh, that guy asked you out. What did he say? Where did he take you? If I'm open to hear it, then I can add, I can influence. If I'm overly judgmental, then that can be tough. My sons and I have had conversations about dating women of different cultures, et cetera, which I'm not going to get into because I don't want to be killed. But, you know, we've had conversations about that, and I'm trying to give them the best advice I can on what they should be looking for in a woman. Right now, they're just dating. I'm trying to get them to be chaste so they can make a good choice. But I don't have some kind of unrealistic expectation of them not talking to anyone. My boys are big, strong, intelligent. One of my sons is just this genius artist kid, and women like them. And they like women. Thank you, Jesus. So I have to be open to that. They're 18, so I have to be open to that. And I think sometimes as Christians, we become foolish. We're like, la, 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 la. We don't want to deal with the reality that is life. And I think if you're open, if you're not, your daughter's just going to do a whole bunch of stuff behind your back. She's not going to not do nothing. You can't lock her up. I think children go through 3 phases. I think I've shared this before, but it bears repeating. I think there are 3 phases that children go through. The first phase is a phase of discovery, then testing, then conclusion drawing. So right now, if you have a kid that's 3 or younger, they are discovering the world. You can try to keep them off the steps, but they want to climb up the steps because they want to discover. They're putting everything in their mouth because they've got an oral fixation thing, and taste is a part of how they discover everything. If they see something new, you got to watch them, because if they pick that up, their first thing is, what is this? Let me see how it tastes. That's discovery. You could wrap them up in duct tape and sit them in the crib, but they're not going to develop. They're not going to learn. They're not going to grow. Then they go through this phase of testing you, where you're saying, come here, and they're wondering, do I want to come to you or not? Most parents miss it at this phase. They totally blow the testing phase, and they don't help their child draw the right conclusions. When your child starts crying for nothing, that's a test to see if that's okay. And if you help them draw the conclusion that crying for nothing is unacceptable, then they won't do it. But I have conversations with parents who have a 4-year-old kid who's crying for no reason, and they want to act like he's just that way. No, he's not that way. That's how you raised him. And so now here he is entering into conclusion drawing phase, and he hasn't drawn the right conclusions, and now he's a mess. By the time a kid is 7, 8, 9, they ought to have it. They ought to have a certain amount of sense. If you help them at 2, because at 2 they're testing you. So if you help them at 2, 3, 4, 5, if you raise them right, then by 6, 7, 8, they ought to get it. They've drawn the right conclusions. They understand there's a certain amount of things that are required. When it's time to go to bed, it's time to go to bed. Bedtime, this is not the time to cry. I don't want to go to bed. A 5-year-old who cries, I don't want to go to bed, has not been taught to come to the right conclusion. This bad parenting. Discovery, testing, conclusion drawing. Then the lightning bolt of puberty hits them and erases their disc. And they start over again. Now they're 11, and they're discovering the world again. Their bodies are changing. They're growing hair. Blood's flowing. They discover themselves. They discover you. Now you're not the gods they worship anymore. Now they look at you and they're like, yeah, clean my room. You need to clean your room. They're discovering you. They're discovering the world. They're discovering boys. They're discovering girls. They're discovering life. And they're starting to draw conclusions. They're testing. And if you help them through that testing phase, then by 15, 16, 17, you ought to be able to trust them out of your sight. You ought to be able to say, take the car, be back here by 10. Anyway. Why don't you do a class on parenting? I wanted my kids to grow up a little bit more. But parenting is something that people have a tendency to be a little defensive of. I'm sure there are many of you right now who are offended by what I just said. Because if you have a 3-year-old kid that can't sleep all night, if you have a 1-year-old kid that doesn't sleep all night, that's your fault. If you have a 3-year-old kid that's in the bed with you, that's your fault. They're not special. They're not unique. I just think my kid is special. No, they're not. No, they're not. You don't know what you're doing. Yeah, but you don't understand. My kid has a strong will, and they'll just cry so long that what? That what? They'll cry all night? Tell you what, put them in a room where you can't hear them and let them cry all night. I guarantee you they won't cry for longer than 2 hours, even if 3 hours. Eventually, they will get tired and go to sleep. And if you let them do that for 2 weeks, they will realize you ain't coming in there. But the problem is that you have a child whose will is stronger than yours. And when the Lord gives you a child whose will is stronger than yours, what he's trying to do is he's trying to get your will to get stronger because he has something great for you to do. You cannot be punked by your child. He has to sleep with me or he won't sleep all night. You give me that kid for 2 weeks. He'll be good to go. He'll be right as rain. You just don't know what you're doing. And if you let a child cry, Yolana's like, are you done? If you let a child cry when they don't get their way, you're teaching them a bad life lesson. Because you can't cry when you don't get your way. Things don't go your way. That's life. Stuff doesn't happen the way you want it to happen. I know you millennials, you just want to plan everything out so perfectly. It's so admirable because you're so forward thinking. The problem is that life's not like that. Life is messy. Life is chaotic. And if you can only function when everything goes a certain way, you're doomed. Things are not going to go the way you want them to go. Well, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to get my degree in, and he's going to get his master's, and then in 2020, we're going to get pregnant. Oh, really? Is it that easy? No, it's not. Because getting pregnant is not just like turning on a light. And for all you know, now the pressure of you planning it so perfectly may keep you from getting it. Because now it's so up against the exact tight timeline that now you're feeling pressured to get pregnant by April. But it doesn't work that way. Can't plan everything out. Okay, I really am done.
Okay, this is more of a comment. Someone commented saying, I thought this was about relationships.
I mean, it's a third degree. It's not third degree with Andy Thompson, the third degree. It's kind of like I'm on the hot seat. I think I do talk about relationships. I don't only want to talk about relationships. I don't mind talking about relationships, but I don't know if it's the only thing I should talk about on this show. Totally down to answer relationship questions. And if you watch this show, most of the time, 75% of the time, 80% of the time, it does end up being about relationships. I think we're also taking some questions that aren't just about, I'm sure we're getting some relationship questions that are coming in here. But we're not always going to just answer the relationship questions. And if you have a relationship question, just keep asking, keep sending it. Believe me, we do this show every week. It can't always be about relationships every single solitary week. But a relationship with your child is a relationship question. It's a relationship question.
Okay, the next question. If I'm looking to build a solid biblical foundation for scriptures to memorize, where do you recommend I start?
I think that when it comes to memorizing scripture, there have been all kinds of schools of thought. When I was younger, coming up, there was this kind of topical memory. I can't remember exactly what it was called. It was like a topical memory system where they were trying to get you to memorize scriptures by topic. I'm sure that's still out there. You should probably check that out. I also think it's important for you to memorize scriptures based on topic, based on what you need. So if you deal with fear, then it would be good for you to memorize some fear scriptures so that you can have them in your spirit. I think sometimes we're wondering about a general, overall, broad, biblical memorization schedule, which I think is good, especially if you're in it to communicate it. But I think that since this is about your personal relationship with Christ as well, you need to memorize scriptures that minister to you. And you can do that very easily. The world has made it easy. The tech has made it easy. You go into your Google and put Bible scriptures on courage, and they will list them for you. And memorize the ones that give you courage. Memorize the ones that are about joy. Memorize the ones that are about peace. Memorize the ones that are about faith. Memorize the ones that are about love. The ones you need. I think that is even more effective than just memorizing scriptures just because these are the scriptures you should know. And I think you could equally do that. You could Google top 25 scriptures every Christian should know, and I bet you'll get a list. And you could memorize those. John 3:16, and 2 Corinthians 5:17, and Romans 10:9 and 10, and Romans 5:1. And they're going to give you a list. 1 John 5:11 and 12. Acts 17, 30 through 31. I could give you a list like that, and you could do that. You could Google it and check them out, read them, see how they speak to you, and be like, oh my God, and this is the record, that God has given us eternal life, and this life is in he that has the Son hath life, he that hath not the Son of God hath not life. Oh my God, I got to memorize that. Okay, great.
Pastor, I'm a 28-year-old male, just recently became single. I don't like really dating, in quotation marks. Ideally, I would love to be friends with a woman and grow in an organic, romantic relationship after knowing each other as friends first. I would love to be married one day, but I'm not sure if my ideal situation, also in quotation marks, is really realistic or not. What are your thoughts?
The Bible says that a man who finds a wife finds a good thing and receives favor from the Lord. It's one of the most famous passages of Scripture when it comes to dating. When we start to talk about dating, and this is why the person was like, I thought this was supposed to be a relationship show. I get it, because biblically, we're not just looking at a different religious kingdom culture, we're looking at a different time period, a different generational culture. We're looking at a different part of the world. And we have to realize that marrying for love is a fairly recent human concept. Wasn't necessarily what marriage really was about. Marriage was more about duty than it was about love. Believe me, I'm digging it that it's about love, although I think duty is still important. But the Bible doesn't talk about dating a lot because the culture is totally different. The marriages were arranged. That's why people are expecting me to answer, and I am answering as best I can, and not a lot of people are qualified to answer, whether it's based on their experiences or based on their gifting or whatever it is. Somehow the Lord has anointed me and called me and gifted me, I suppose, to talk about relationships, and I'm excited to do it. I've been in a relationship with the same woman for going on 30 years, married to her for 27, and half my church is men, so I do have an understanding of it. Gentlemen, not just the guy that asked the question, but gentlemen, you're going to have to date. Oh, I don't want to date. Well, you're in trouble. You're going to have to date. Now, if you are going to have a friendship that's going to organically turn into a romantic relationship, then you probably have that already. There's somebody that you're friends with now. There's somebody that you're cool with now, but you better think she's hot. You better think she's hot. I think some of the best relationships are friendships that do organically turn into relationships. I've also seen some that don't work. We only like to point at the ones that work. But I think that there is a romantic, especially as a guy, there is a romantic physical hotness factor that is important. I think it's important for women, but I think it's even more important for men. Finding a wife is like choosing one kind of food to eat for the rest of your life. If I said to you, you can only have one kind of food for the rest of your life, and you said Jamaican food, then you better really like Jamaican food. You better like it hot. You better like it cold. You better like it when it's pregnant. You better like it when it's tired. You better like it when its eyes are red. You better like it when its head's wrapped up in a scarf. You better really like Jamaican food. If the only time you like Jamaican food is when it's all shiny and on a platter with a thong on, then you don't really like Jamaican food. You gotta like Jamaican food with flannel. Now, I will eat some Jamaican food with some flannel. Yes, I will. I prefer some Jamaican food without a headscarf, but you know what? Jamaican food with some headscarf ain't bad. That's how much I like Jamaican food. So there's a physical aspect that's important. So if you're looking for Jamaican food and you're hanging out with Chinese food, and then you think you're going to be okay, well, I just grew to like Chinese food, and now we're just good friends. And I hear that, but it would be even better to be friends with some Jamaican food, and then it organically, you being like, wow, and it just so happens that I really like Jamaican food. Happening organically is not something you can't ask about that on a show. I can't answer that question. And honestly, I don't really think that's the best way to go about it. I think if it's going to happen organically, then it will. But if you're 28 and whatever your situation is, then what you need to do is you need to be like, okay, this is the kind of food I like. I like Jamaican food. So now you need to be testing all of the Jamaican food restaurants. When you get to the restaurant, you need to see if there's an open sign on the door. This is why I say to women, whatever you do, don't let some fool make you close down your restaurant. Well, I'm not really dating right now because Danje really hurt me. Look, girl, you don't have to close the whole restaurant just because Danje knocked your tables over. The problem is that you let him in the kitchen and he spit in your pot. What you got to do is you got to learn how to keep dudes in the dining room and not in the kitchen. And what you need to do, dude, is you need to go to the Chinese, go to the Jamaican food restaurant. First of all, is it open? I don't bang on doors that aren't open. Let me in, I want some plantains. If you're closed, then you're closed. Go in, sit down at the table and order a meal and just date. Stop trying to get in the back. Stop trying to get so deep. Stop trying to sleep with the girl. Stop trying to put your hands all down her pants. Just calm yourself. Be chaste so you can make a right choice. See if all of the things that you're looking for in a Jamaican food restaurant is there. And then decide, can you afford it? Because the worst thing that can ever happen to you as a man is to take more than you give. What ends up happening is you can't afford the food, so now you got to run it down. Oh, you think you're so special. Oh, you think you're so great. Oh, you think so amazing. You ain't all that. You're not all that hot. Now you're running the food down because you can't pay for it. Ultimately, what you need to do as a woman is you need to say, yeah, this is a first-class seat. I remember when I used to fly coach, and I would walk through the first-class sections that were always full. And I would be like, I cannot believe people pay to sit in first class. It's incredible. But you know what? The airlines don't care. They're not like, oh my God, Pastor, please, can you please sit in first class, please? We'll lower the price to $50. Nope. It costs $3,000 to sit in this seat. And if you can't afford to pay $3,000, I don't know what to tell you. You can't lower your value. I was in California, and I saw like, y'all know I love all these track jackets. I saw this track jacket from afar in a store. I went in, I was like, oh, that track jacket's bomb. I found out it was a whole suit. I asked them, how much is it? The suit was $450 for a sweatsuit. I was like, can I just buy the jacket? They were like, no, you have to buy the whole thing. I was like, yeah, I mean, it's nice, but I don't know if it's $450 nice. They were like, okay, bye. Because clearly, there are people who are paying $450 for it. They only had a couple left. Now, the mistake would have been for me to be like, y'all are crazy, man. Y'all, oh, what? Y'all think this sweatsuit's all that? This sweatsuit ain't all that. It certainly ain't worth no $450. That's what dudes do. Dudes start running you down to try to make you sell them your first-class seat for coach prices. You don't want to do that, sweetheart. If you're a first-class seat, wait for a first-class person to come and sit in your first-class seat. Is this thing off? Can't sell your coach, can't sell your first-class seat for coach prices. That's a mistake. You got to figure out, do you have first-class seat emotional money? I'm not going to run you down so you'll expect less of me. And one of the worst things that's ever happened to particularly the African-American culture is that women have lost their standards and they are giving up first-class seats for coach prices. And now the whole culture is in trouble because women have no standards anymore. But ultimately what you want to do as a guy is you want to constantly give more than you get. By giving more than you get, you store up credit. What does this cost? $10. I'm going to give you 15 every time. 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15. So that then when I come and I don't have nothing and my storage is empty, you're like, it's okay, I got you, boo. It's all right. I get it. You're tired. Instead of you trying to bargain down a chick to get her to give you 2 for 1, you should overpay. And in that way, you make your store say, wow, I'm even more valuable than I thought I was. This dude treats me like I'm Saks, and I thought I was Marshalls. And so, this is a guy, right? You're going to have to go out and date. You're going to have to make a list. You're going to have to be like, okay, this is what I'm looking for. This is what I'm believing God for. And I'm going to go out here and try to find somebody. In this way, I'm going to find in every way I can. I'm looking on it. I'm meeting people. I'm looking on Instagram. I'm asking, hey, do you know somebody? You know what I'm like. And I'm going to take people out. I'm going to sit down and have a cup of coffee with them. I'm going to listen to them talk. And if they call me stupid, you're so stupid. And you're like, yeah, I don't want anybody calling me stupid. Then you can just be like, well, this is nice. It was nice to get to know you a little bit. And you just leave and you don't call her anymore. Problem is you start sleeping with her. You get involved and you get in deep. Most of the dudes that are watching this show that have a child by someone they can't stand is because they were all physical with somebody. And you want to save yourself. If you're a woman, you can't let everybody all the way back in the back of the store. You will be undervalued. And that is not a good thing. You want somebody that's like, I cannot believe you are selling me this jacket for $75. I'd pay $150 for this jacket. This is amazing. That's what you want. Not some dude who's like, $75? Psh, chick, get out of here. You know who I am? You ought to be glad I'm wearing your clothes. You ought to be giving me that jacket for at least $5. $5? Really? Is that all you're worth? $5? You don't want to date? Then you must not want a wife. You're going to end up with one that's not what you're looking for. Go date. Go find her. Ask people out. Smile. Have courage. Have the guts to go for what you want. Don't accidentally stumble into it. Have courage. Say, this is what I want. I want somebody smart. I want somebody saved. I want somebody that's skilled. I want somebody that's sweet to me. I want somebody that's got her own hips. I don't want, went to the store and bought some. I want her own hips. I don't care about nothing else but her own hips. I don't need butt implants. I mean her own hips. That is important to me. Know what you like. And look for that, and dare to ask God for that, and dare to be specific, and dare to believe that God will meet the desires of your heart, and trust your desires, and go for that. Don't settle. I'm done. That's all I have to say about that. I mean, I have more to say, but.
Have you seen the movie Bird Box?
I have not seen Bird Box. The reason why I have not seen Bird Box is because I just recently moved to this new house out in the country, and my internet is just not, this people that you all can't see, Morgan and all them got somehow trying to figure out how to get me, trying to give me some better internet. But right now, if you live in North Carolina and you out in the country, that's what I love about the South. If you're out there, you may not, some of y'all in 300 in here, we glad to get 5. So I haven't seen it.
Okay, the follow-up to that is, are you against us as Christians and spiritual people watching movies that may be considered demonic or dangerous?
I think that you need to guard your soul. I think you need to guard every one of your gates. You need to be careful about what you let yourself see, because things do violate your soul. I think that we do let stuff in. I think we do watch stuff too much. I think we do listen to too much stuff. I think we listen to too much worldly music. I think we watch too many worldly shows, and we wonder why we deal with fear. We wonder why we're dealing with anxiety. We wonder why we're dealing with all this stuff. We wonder why we can't be faithful. We wonder why we can't have morals. It's very difficult to have morals when you're listening to booty, booty, booty every day, if that's all you listen to. If you wake up in the morning, and in the morning, right from the beginning, it's just like booty shaking, booty, and you're just like, Pastor Eddie, I just need prayer. I'm just trying to keep myself solid. Pastor Eddie, it's tough out here in these streets, you know what I'm saying? Cheeks rolling up on you. I totally get that, but it doesn't help that every song on your iPod or iPhone and your iTunes or everything you listen to is booty shaking, ho, ho, ho. The fact that that's your whole life, you are constantly pouring booty shaking into your head. No wonder all you want to do is singing booty shaking. That's all you want to see. Pump some different stuff in your head, and you may not be obsessed with booty shaking. Put some different stuff in. Oh my God, I'm just dealing with fear. If you're dealing with fear, then you need to stay away from all the horror, all the stuff, if you're in somewhere and you're watching something and it violates you down and you feel yourself go, get up and get out. Get up and we'll leave. Go someplace else. There's certain stuff I'm just like, oh no, I can't watch that. The horror stuff that I watch is stuff that I know is just fake, like vampires and werewolves and monsters and stuff like that. I don't watch anything that has to do with the demonic at all. Witchcraft, nope. Harry Potter is just like a fairy tale. But even that, there was a couple times when Voldemort came through and I was like, oh, Bobo Shunda. No, I don't think so. But I don't, The Conjuring and all that, I don't watch none of that stuff. Some of that stuff, and when you the possession of Emma Grace or whatever her name is, and back all in. You got to watch that stuff. You got to be careful with that kind of stuff. It can violate your soul. You have to be careful about stuff that violates your soul. There's a number of different things. The word there, the Lord, Psalm 23, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. One of the verses says, he restores my soul. I believe that a part of church kingdom, a relationship with God, is there is a soul restoration that needs to happen, because there are things that violate your soul. Violence violates your soul. Molestation violates your soul. Horror, people coming back from war with post-traumatic stress, a part of what has happened is that their soul has been violated at a level that they need their soul restored. And so you need to be careful what you allow to violate your soul. Even when it comes to your physical relationship, there is a soul aspect to intimacy. So, unless you're just going to become totally calloused in your soul, and that's possible, to the pain that you may cause an individual person, I would suggest that you are careful about intimacy, because it's hard to break up with someone that you've been intimate with. And if it becomes easy, then your soul is becoming hardened, and that's not good. That's not good.
Next question. What are your suggestions for going into a month-long fast? Is it something you can prepare for, and how?
I mean, I don't know about preparing for it. We're getting ready to go on a month-long fast here at World Overcomers at the beginning of every year. We give the first 30 or so days of the year to the Lord, kind of as a tithe of the days of the year to God in fasting and prayer. Me personally, there is a period of that fasting time where I don't eat any food at all. This year, it will be, probably the first 7 to 10 days, I probably won't eat any food. And I'm at least 7 days, I'm saying probably, because I may go to 10, I don't know. And if you're going to fast on just water or juice, we really need to talk to you, and I'm going to be talking about it, but for World Overcomers. Do I prepare for that? I'll tell you how I prepare for it. Right now, I'm preparing for it by having a cookout shake every day. That's how I'm preparing for it. Matter of fact, when I leave here today, cook. Anyway, that's how I prepare for it. I'm like, oh yeah, we're ready to start a fast on next Wednesday, the 2nd. Yeah, the 2nd. Next Thursday, when I'm doing this show, I'll be doing this show lips dry, having not eaten for at least a day. I will be into my second day. First 2, 3, 4 days are really hard. Once you get into the 4th day, pushing into your 5th day, your body gets quiet. You've never experienced it. It's a very powerful thing where your body shuts up. Day 1, day 2, day 3, you're going through hell. By day 4, your body says, okay, you're not going to give me anything to eat. I'm going to leave you alone. And your body goes silent, and you get to this place of peace that is unexplainable. Now, you got to drink a lot to get there. Drink a lot of water. I don't just drink water. I don't just do water. I also do things like juice and Gatorades and that kind of stuff. And if you have a job where you are working physically, you just can't do that. You got a desk job, you probably can. But if you work at FedEx or you're in construction, you can't not eat. But you can give God something. You can give God meat. You can give God sugar. You can give God biscuits. You can give God fast food. You can give God nicotine. There's all kinds of things you can give him. We're asking people that are consecrating with us to give God something. We're not asking them to give him food. We're just asking them to give him something. Give him something. Can you prepare for it? There are some people who, because for example, if you are going to give God coffee for 30 days, then you need to start weaning yourself off, because if you are having 5-6 cups of coffee every day and then you go cold turkey to none, then not having that caffeine can give you headaches and all kinds of stuff. So there are people that do that, kind of slowly start weaning themselves down from stuff. Me, at this point, I'm 50 years old. I've done so many fasts. I know what it's like to fast. I know how to fast. I know what I'm doing. I know the first 3 or 4 days are going to be hell, because I'm not going to be eating. So I don't expect anything different. I know they're going to be tough. And so right now, like I said, I had 2 cookout shakes yesterday. So I'm going to try to just have one a day. But this last week, I kind of eat whatever I want. It's the end of the year. For me, what I do is I use the beginning of the year as a very serious propulsion moment for myself spiritually and physically. To me, it's almost like I look at every new year as an opportunity to take off. Power of Christianity is that you could begin again. And every new year, I start over. Every new year. And if there are things that I did in the past year, I'm like, you know what, I'm not doing that this year. But it's like when a plane takes off. When a plane takes off, it burns a lot of fuel in the beginning of the year, in the beginning of the takeoff. It gets really high, and then it doesn't take as much fuel to maintain that as it did to get up there. But you still have to keep your jets going, or else you'll slowly start to come down. The jets keep you up. When they begin their descent, the descent's a slow descent. So for me, that's kind of how I am in the beginning of the year. It's like I burn a whole lot of energy. I get so spiritual after that 30 days of fasting and prayer and consecration study that I've burned so much. I'm so high up in this spirit, it doesn't take as much energy to maintain it. And then I do the same thing physically. So part of the reason why I'm eating anything I want is because once I come off the fast, I'm going to start working out like crazy. And I'm not going to have a cookout shake. I'm going to have these cookout shakes this week, and I probably won't have another one until June. Because I'm going to work out like, I'm like, all right, I'm super strong spiritually. Now let me be super strong physically. Let me try to get in the best shape I can. And usually what happens to me is I get in the best shape of my life by the spring. And then, I go on vacation with my wife. That's when I start my descent. When I come back from vacation, I burn a little. I'm like, all right, I get back in. Then I go on family vacation, usually somewhere around June. And after family vacation, we have begun our descent into the Raleigh-Durham area. Please buckle your seatbelts. Bring your tray tables up to the full and upright lock position. It's like I'm just holding on as best I can. Right now, the fact this is zipped all the way up because you don't want to see what's going on under here. It's December, baby. Pictures you see of me, those pictures are from March. This whole crew right here is getting ready. We're going to do every photo shoot. We're going to take our Christmas picture. We're going to do everything in March, okay? And in some years I do better than others, I've gotten older. I don't work out as much as I used to. I do work out, but not as much as I used to. But anyway, so that's the answer to the question. Can you get prepared? Yes and no. There's something about the stepping off the cliff power of fasting. It just is what it is. It can't be denied. And if you give God bread, you're going to miss it, and that's a good thing. If you give God sugar, you're going to miss it, and that's a good thing. I don't know if there's any way to prepare for it. That's kind of the point. If you give God juice and you're only drinking water, you're going to miss tea, you're going to miss juice, you're going to miss coffee. You give God coffee for 30 days, you're going to miss it, and that's good. You should give him something that you're going to miss. The point is to deny yourself. You deny yourself something physical for a spiritual purpose, and it brings spiritual strength. It's a powerful thing. And I'm inviting everybody to do it, not just people that go to World Overcomers, but everyone that's watching. So beyond me just inviting you to our watch night service, if you're in the Raleigh-Durham area, you need to come. Tuning in live stream is nice, but it's not the same as being here. Come be in the room with us. If you're in the Raleigh-Durham area, New Year's, come. Start the year off right. If you're wherever you may be, Ireland, Spain, you want to start the new year off right beyond just streaming with us? You want to kick the year off right? Turn your plate down. Give God something for the first 30 days. Start your new year off with some consecration and some prayer and some study of the Word. And burn some fuel spiritually at the very beginning of the year. And you will see how differently your year will go. It'll be powerful. By the time I get to September, sometimes I'm still burning off the high. I burned so much. I was at 40,000 feet. By the time I get to September, I'm still at 30,000 feet. It's just takes less energy to maintain that spirituality. If you find out you're a heathen by Easter, then you need to really do something serious at the beginning of the year. That consecration is powerful. I know it's passé. I know it's something that don't nobody hardly talk about. I know it's something that only really old school, super ultra conservative churches talk about it. But here, World Overcomers, we have always been serious about consecration, fasting, and prayer. Fast and pray to get yourself out of the way. Fasting doesn't move God as much as it moves you. Powers your faith. So fasting works. It moves you. And I've said it doesn't move God as much as it moves you. And I'm not saying it doesn't move God. There are people that call a solemn assembly and call us some. But I even think when I read those passages, calling a solemn assembly, it moves the people more than it moves God. But I don't want some big biblical theological argument about it. I'm not saying it doesn't move God, but it moves you. And if you want to start your year off, you never satisfy a lust by feeding it. It just wants more. It just wants more. The way to stop it is to stop it. Somebody's hooked on some kind of drug and they're like, oh, well, I'm just going to finish this last bag of heroin, then that's it. No, that's not how you get off it. You get off it by throwing it away right now. Flush it today and deny yourself. And when you first deny yourself, it's going to be hell. I've never gone through any kind of physical, chemical withdrawal, so I'm talking outside of my neck right now. But from everyone I know, I've ever seen, you go through that physical thing, it's going to be hard. It's going to be tough, but it's not going to last forever. Your nicotine cravings are going to be horrible for a period of time, but they're not going to last forever. Not going to last forever. You're going to want to come out of your skin and you're going to lose your mind, but your body will reset itself. One of the other things that's cool about fasting and consecrating is if you stop giving yourself sugar for 30 days, you'll reset your taste buds for sugar. I stopped sugar. There was this one particular Smoothie King shake I was getting, and I stopped sugar, and it's like since I started doing sugar again, that's too sweet. It's possible for things to be too sweet, but I'm saying all that to say that sometimes when I'm working out very vigorously in the beginning of the year and I eat like an energy bar, somebody says, do it taste like Snickers? And I'm like, no, it doesn't taste like Snickers. It only tastes like Snickers if you're not eating Snickers. If you just had a Snickers yesterday and now you eat this, you're going to be like, this don't taste like no Snickers. But if you haven't had a Snickers for 2 months and you taste this, you're like, that thing pretty good. It's because your taste buds have reset. If you're like, I don't like salad, I tell you what, don't eat with me. Drink just water and juice for 10 days, and I bet you when it's time to break it on some salad, you'll be like, oh my God, these carrots are incredible. You will reset your taste buds. It's a part of the power of your body. Your body will reset itself. That applies to so many different things. That applies to so many different things. You can get your sensitivity back if you deny yourself. You get your sensitivity back if you deny yourself. Sometimes one of the things that LaShawn and I do sometimes, this is just TMI, but sometimes when we're getting ready to go on vacation, we abstain for like 2 weeks. We're like leading up to our anniversary, so we're trying to be like, oh, back before we got married, and so we just stop. We just become brother and sister for 2 weeks. And we're just high-fiving and pounding and, what's up? How you doing, sis? Maki, da. Ain't no mountain, ain't no sea. And then we're on the plane going to wherever, Mexico, and you feel all of that raw teeth. Every little move she makes, I'm like, stop. Zip your clothes up, girl. It's just like every little thing, because you've gotten all your sensitivity back. Your body will reset itself. And that's what denial does. Makes you reset. All right, this has been Third Degree. We've had a pretty good show today, I think. We were all over the place. Can't wait to see you next Thursday. If you're going to be consecrating with me, it's going to be great. Once again, I don't want anybody, I should make everybody sign a disclaimer. I don't want anybody in a hospital. I'm not telling you to not eat. If you take medication, you got to eat with that medication. You do what but just because you need to eat for your medication doesn't mean that you need to eat a biscuit for your medication. So you have to understand, I have high blood pressure and I have to take my high blood pressure medication. I get that. But can you eat a salad and take your high blood pressure? No. My high blood pressure medication actually needs me to eat bacon. No, it does not. So you can still deny yourself and still take your high blood pressure medication. You're going to have to eat something, but that don't mean you have to eat bread. That doesn't mean you have to eat sweets. That doesn't mean you have to eat fast food. Deny yourself something. Do it with us for 30 days. Remember, World Overcomers or not, I challenge you. Deny yourself something for 30 days for a spiritual purpose. Not to fit in a dress, for a spiritual purpose. Say, I'm going to be closer to the Lord. Draw me closer. Lord, draw me closer. And I'm going to pray more. I'm going to study my word more. In this 30 days, I may realize for the rest of the year, I may be so busy with my life, my kids, my job, blah, 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 that I don't have enough time to really study the way I should. I don't have enough time to really pray as much as I should. I don't have enough time to really seek God's face as much as I should. So I'm going to dedicate this 30 days, and I'm going to really go after it. And I'm going to burn so much fuel that I'm going to be so close to God that I'm going to be good. Do that. I guarantee you it'll bring a change in your life. See you next Thursday.